who has been working on hydrogen projects in Egypt. And I think what's great about this panel in particular is that you often have a hydrogen conversation that is Europe and the US and then maybe the Gulf, but we're actually here bringing in India and Egypt and other parts of the world to the conversation. I think is really important that we think about hydrogen as a global commodity. So Hussein.
For the hydrogen in Egypt, and I will be very careful with the colors as well to make you guys happy. As a follow-up of the COP27, which I'm sure some of you must have attended. Actually, there is a lot of MOUs, project already been in place, but actually, Egypt during the COP27 commercialized the first green hydrogen project, which actually took 10 months to be built, using 100 megawatt from electrolysis from the 250, 260 megawatt renewable energy. So it's a pure green hydrogen. It will produce about 15,000 tons per year of green hydrogen, which translated to 90,000 tons of green ammonia. Something of interest, maybe a lot of people don't know, but actually we used to have a fertilizer plant, Kima in Aswan, was built in 50s, and we was using the electrolysis and electricity from the high dam. So actually we had the green ammonia, it's closed in 2019, but we had it in the, I mean, we all know, we studied in the school the electrolysis, how you separate the hydrogen from the oxygen. So we had that. As far as Egypt is concerned, and Dr. Sultan actually was talking about it yesterday, with what Masdar is doing, investing $100 billion, 50 already spent and 50 yet to be spent. There is a major project already being signed in Egypt in November between Masdar and Egypt to have a 10 gigawatt wind farm, which will be one of the biggest in the world. And this 10 gigawatt wind farm will produce about 48,000 of kilowatt hour of electricity per year. And another project also Masdar and Egypt as well is having 2 gigawatts, so in total 4 gigawatts. One in Ain Sokhna on the Suez Canal, and one on the Mediterranean, and actually we'll have out of that about 500,000 tons of green hydrogen, which will be translated to about 2.3 million tons of green ammonia. Egypt, with its geographical position, and we have the Suez Canal, where 12% of the world trade crossing every year. It's a good opportunity to build on what Meg said. There is also a project for e-methanol as well, which will be giving that green fuel to the vessel crossing the canal. We'll have one at the south, one at the north. So that's actually where the Suez Canal Economic Zone are focusing on going that. Fertilizer industry in Egypt is big. Egypt is the 6th producer worldwide of the ammonia, and actually 5th exporter worldwide of the ammonia. Actually, with what happened with the Ukraine crisis, Egypt compensated partially for the fertilizer to Europe was coming from Russia. So again, all this gray hydrogen we are producing now with the fertilizer, that's a fantastic or a good example to change to blue hydrogen by capture the CO2. So that's an actual and good potential. We are a natural gas producing country, and I'll go back again, sorry, to this 10 gigawatt wind. It will basically save the country $5 billion per year and 9% of the CO2 emission when it's commercialized. So the gas will be free. We can use it. We have 2 big LNG facilities on the Mediterranean. And again, good example of collaboration. We have the gas coming from Israel to this LNG facility because Israel doesn't have the LNG facility. Use that, send it to Europe. So actually, there is 171 increase of the LNG export this year in Egypt because of the collaboration between all this country in this area to react basically with the dynamic. So we spoke about fertilizer. Steel industry is big as well, and that's another example where we can. But the fertilizer, I think it's a clear pathway where Egypt can convert the gray to the blue hydrogen. We spoke about the e-methanol for feeding the vessels through the Suez Canal, because of course we all know that transportation is significant contribution to the CO2 emission. In total, it's a big number, $85 billion of MOUs and projects being signed from early 21 till now. We hope some of this definitely materialize soon. We have very aggressive plan when it comes to green hydrogen. Egypt is building a dedicated green corridor for the renewable energy, because our objective is to reach 42% by 2035. So that green corridor is dedicated to the renewable, and with the proximity to Europe, Asia, and of course Africa, definitely it's well positioned to feed that global network with the renewable energy.
Fantastic, thank you. And I think it's really, really important that you're...
I just want to wear Africa hat for a minute, if you allow
Absolutely.
me. The recent, European Investment Bank report, Africa has the potential to produce 50 million tons of green hydrogen. And there are 3 areas: North, where is Egypt, West Morocco, Mauritania, and South Namibia and South Africa. So the potential is there. In Africa, we have a serious issue when it comes to infrastructure. And if you allow me to use the example of electricity in Egypt, in 2014, we had the blackout. We're producing 24 gigawatt of electricity. From 2014 till 2021, we added about 35 gigawatt. We have a production capacity of 59.5. And guess what? Where other countries need electricity, neighbor countries, we cannot give them what they want because the lack of infrastructure. So back to your comment. We have issues with policies in the emerging markets, emerging countries, and that's we're learning as we're developing. Africa needs a lot of investment. I mean, in some of the panel I heard in the morning, can be the future of the renewable energy for the entire world. But to do that, you need to build an infrastructure. Since I've been born, we were hearing about Cairo-Cape Town road. It never happened, and then it's still all this trans-African roads, east to west, north to south. We have a serious problem with that. So I'm using this platform to encourage people, put your money in Africa. Secretary Kerry said it this morning. Give a concession when it comes to funding. We still have 580 million African in sub-Sahara with no electricity, 900 million without clean gas. So definitely we have issues, but also we have the potential, the minerals. I mean, we heard it in Amos talks, fantastic talks, and I'm glad actually the world now is thinking ahead. We don't have to wait for the crisis to happen to react. And again, it's the way he said, it's not US against China. It's for the benefit of the entire world to have all these rare minerals available and the process to produce for everybody. So again, actually in the Egypt low carbon hydrogen policy, which was announced during the coup, we have two models, and the green model, we can actually produce up to 8% of this 95 million tons required. We still have a challenge, and I'll talk specifically about Egypt, about the policy still going on. I think the green corridor will help in the matching stories. So it's a step. We are not there yet, but definitely work on progress.
Got it. Thank you. Yeah.